Calls for more housing stimulus. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because I want to look at this article from Mortgage Business. Housing policy must be measured, said the REIA. The industry body for real estate agents has called for property policy commitments that consider all players in real estate as the possibility of a 2021 federal election looms. So, how much further are they going to kick the can down the road? This is just the beginning of lobbying for more intervention and support and stimulus and handouts for the housing sector. Everyone, I mentioned it before. I've said in previous videos, it's going to be interesting this year to see what happens because it's all going to come down to this election. What can win votes? What can win votes? Don't worry what you do to the economy. Don't worry what you do to our country. Don't worry about our declining economic complexity and how everyone is just flipping houses. No, we don't need an advanced economy here. Not at all. All that matters is winning votes, everyone. Let's have a look at just some of the interventions that have occurred last year through various parties. First one, you've got the loan deferrals. You've got all the banks being chummy deferring loans and mortgages, mortgage holidays. Remember reading the articles about some professionals who were only in their home thanks to the mortgage deferrals. And you're talking two people on at least six figures. I couldn't believe it. But then, because you think, okay, if you're that educated, you're that experienced, you should have a fund, an emergency fund. You should be ahead. Apparently not, everyone. So that's the first one. Then we've got Home Builder version 1 and version 2. Thousands of people taking advantage of it. Which I can see the advantage of Home Builder over direct investment in social housing. I advocate for lifting people up, not propping them up. Creating an economy where people can create opportunity. You're going to get more bang for future taxpayers' money with this. You can see here just the numbers that have, Victoria over 4,000, everyone. Impressive for a state that's had such restrictions. People want to go on the home builder. Then you've also got the first home loan deposit scheme. Up to 10,000. I think they added another 10,000. Where you can get in with a tiny deposit, as little as 5%. To particular lenders, only the favorite lenders, and the bank will guarantee it. Will pay for the mortgage insurance. Not as bad as what happened in America. We need to make sure that they don't advocate for their system over there, where the government is pretty much just lending money to anyone. Then you've also got the stamp duty discounts and grants in every state, handing out money left, right, and center. What's most disturbing is in Western Australia, where foreigners can get a $50,000 equivalent in discounts. Fantastic. And then my favorite is the trading while insolvent. Everyone, we can see here personal insolvencies have crashed. Now this has come to an end. And companies as well, heading down during our first recession in 28 years. You can see here how all our states are going, how many have occurred. But I think we'll start to see an uptick once BAS becomes due, the business activity statements. So these are just some of the interventions. One could argue also even the super withdrawals have helped support the housing market. Now the problem with this is you buy a house, you sit on it, you do nothing. You can make more money in just the capital appreciation in that house than you can working. So people think, oh, wait a minute, I've essentially doubled the value of my house, I'll buy another one and do it again and do it again and do it again. So you get people steering towards this. Then they make courses online to teach people how to do that. But none of those things are quite sophisticated. Sure, there's intellect and challenge that's required to it, but you don't want the mainstay of your civilization in your nation simply being flipping houses. Where's the future in it? Where's it going to be in 20, 30 years' time? And we have all these incentives that drive people to buy a property. We just saw these here. I'm not even going to, we haven't even mentioned negative gearing. That creates this systematic issue where they put taxes up so high. We've got such a high level of taxation here in Australia. And then to get out of taxation, the investor class can take advantage of this loophole to jump in, run a property at a loss and write it off against your other income. And I don't blame anyone for taking advantage of it. 100%. You do it. Keep the money out of the government's hands. But it creates this situation where a bubble appears because you've got the candle-on effect, everyone. This is where, when there's a specific injection point of money into a system, where the supply of money increases, say, in borrowing for housing, you get a bubble of that commodity or good or product related to other parts of the economy. Because it's the specific flow path through the economy where money flows. And this, came before Smith, everyone. We seem to have forgotten it, haven't we? So let's have a look at this. The Real Estate Institute of Australia President Adrian Kelly said that it was critical that policymakers make measured property policy commitments for all parties in the housing market, from first home buyers to investors. Noting that a federal election could be called as early as August 2021, Mr. Kelly said in May, just prior to the 2019 election, house sales were the lowest in 2 decades across Australia, which was largely attributed to the election commitments from the federal opposition to abolish negative gearing and capital gains tax in their current form. Given the majors, and see, this is the thing. At the time, I wasn't in favor of abolishing that. I'm just going to activate this noise issue because the crickets are going again every time I'm recording. It's the bloody crickets outside. At the time, I wasn't in favor of abolishing negative gearing because, well, it's going to be a boomer perk that younger generations won't get to take advantage of as much. My children won't get to take advantage of it. I would now, if they were going to get rid of negative gearing, they need to reduce everyone's taxation to offset that. Increase the tax-free threshold even more. So people aren't, well, sure, some people will cop it, but a lot of people won't. Or it'll kind of even out, at least from the government revenue point of view. But there's no political will for it. Shorten went there to it, he could make an argument to it, but there's no political will. That's the thing. Everyone in Australia wants their property to go up. I want the value of my property to go up. I don't believe it when I see what the bank says it's worth, probably because I know what it is. I don't believe what houses are going around the area for. But once you're in, you want it to go up. So, but the question is, are people willing to sacrifice their wealth effect of their property growing up for greater economic complexity and diversity in our economy here in Australia? Are they willing to let the government step away and the market self-correct? Or would they vote for people that will intervene in the market to prop it up? Now, most of the viewers here are Australian. What do you reckon, guys? And for those of you overseas, do you think your own country would do that? In Australia, we're property obsessed. It's like a national sport. So people are going to vote to intervene. So when you've got Martin North critical of the property sector, how it needs to fall, how it's leveraged, and myself and others talking just about how much of a mess it is. The problem is the political will is there to chuck everything that they can at it, and future generations are going to pay the price for it. Can it keep going on forever? Probably not. But can it go on enough for people to cash out, or for this one generation that has the power to ride it to the end? And then what happens when it all gets passed down? Don't worry, they'll bring in a death tax, I'm sure of it. So given the major role investors played and continue to play in providing housing over the pandemic, it is critical that the run into the election that policies from all sides of politics work for all players in real estate. Speaking about the property market, Mr. Kelly said that it recorded respectable growth over 2020 and predicted that with limited stock and strong demand, property prices should increase further in 2021. Okay, except international tourism is completely non-existent pretty much. International students are only starting to trickle back in, and with the increase of the Australian dollar to the US, what's saying that will continue? I was always taught at university we were the poor man's US. And migration. Yeah, so why is property going to go up? We've got an oversupply in certain stock. Traditionally, there is a reduction in the number of house sales over the holiday period due to buyers going away for the festive period. but due to the current restrictions, people are taking advantage of the market conditions while they are unable to travel and look to buy while they can. Recent CoreLogic data for the week ending 10th of January showed home loan activity plunged by over 40% month on month, which is attributed to the holiday season slowdown, with sales activity remaining soft. Mr. Kelly said that government stimulus, there you go, measures and continued low interest rates have been partly responsible for the resilient demand for residential housing, adding that the property sector has been vital for Australia's economic performance. See, this is the thing. The property sector it shouldn't be vital for our economic performance. It's a tool that the government uses to intervene in the market, to increase the wealth effect, and to, well, stimulate economic activity. For every dollar they spend or tax deduction they give in housing will flow through a greater number of times. I would advocate we need to look at ways that government could reduce its impact on our lives, but that seems to be in the political minority here in Australia. 57% of the wealth of our nation is in property. Big chunk of it in housing. Big chunk of the super is in property too. Have a look. Guys, I'm going to bring up, I know I mention this website all the time, but remember, it's often the first time someone's ever seen it. Have a look at the Observatory of Economic Complexity and look at our ranking in the world. 73rd in the world. Compare us to other countries around the world. You might be a bit surprised. So, even though growth in new dwelling investment is unlikely in the 2021 fiscal year, given the lags between building approvals and construction activity, the forecast for dwelling investment has been revised from -4% in the pre-election economic and fiscal outlook to -3.5% in the mid-year economic and fiscal outlook, he said. Meanwhile, Mr. Kelly said that while the winding back of JobKeeper and JobSeeker measures may result in temporary issues for tenants in some capital cities, the current trend to relocate to regional areas is likely to gain further momentum. So there we go, everyone. The first little, prepping or positioning for the potential federal election this year. What do you think will happen? Do you think Australians will vote for the party that will prop up their housing and property the most? Or do you think is it even possible to try and address this issue? What they'll do is, to make housing more affordable rather than stepping away and not intervening, they will just give out more grants, which will spruik up the money supply into one sector, and which will create even more of a bubble. As always, everyone, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. What do you think? Do you think we'll have an election in 2021 here in Australia? Let us know. I might put a poll up on the community tab and we can see how people vote. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I cobble together, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. Support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. You can buy a merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all next time. Bye for now.